Hey, it's Tom with Outdoor Miles. If you're new to RVing, this is the stuff nobody really tells you. And if you've been doing it for a while, you've probably run into at least a few of these already. If you own an RV, things are going to break, and not just once in a while, much more frequently than you want. But here's the good news. Most of the problems that you're going to run into aren't major failures. They're small, predictable issues that you can fix in minutes if you know what to look for. So in this video, I'm going to walk through the most common RV problems and the quick fixes that can save your trip. So let's get into the things that break the most and how to fix them quickly. First, let's start with plumbing. So when people think about plumbing problems in an RV, a lot of times they think about a pipe bursting. Well, that's usually not what happens. Most of the time, the leak is at a connection. You'll find these under your sink, behind your shower, at the toilet connection, or in something like an outdoor kitchen. These fittings loosen over time because your RV is constantly moving and vibrating when you're driving down the road. So if you see water, don't panic. It's probably not a burst pipe. So turn the water off and start checking those connection points first. So a lot of times you can fix it by just tightening the fitting, or maybe you need to add a little bit of plumber's tape or replace that cheap plastic connection that probably came with the RV. Now, the one thing I highly recommend is to carry a small PEX repair kit. Even if you've never used one before, it's worth having. And honestly, grab a scrap piece of PEX and practice at home. It's one of those things that feels intimidating until you actually do it. Now, most RV plumbing systems are made out of PEX. PEX is a lot more flexible than the old PVC pipe that was used. It can withstand higher water pressure, a little bit of freezing, so it's much more durable. But if you need to make a repair, you're going to need to make a repair to the PEX tubing. So you want to be able to know what you're doing. A PEX repair kit is really cheap, but it's great to have on hand. I also suggest keeping a couple push-to-connect fittings like shark bites on hand. They're really great to get you out of a jam. But long-term, a proper crimp or clamp PEX connection is a better solution for an RV, just because of all the vibration. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about are toilets. If this hasn't happened to you yet, it will. If you walk into your RV and notice that the toilet bowl is dry, that it's not holding water, it's almost always the seal. And that water sitting in the bowl is what keeps the odors from coming back up. So it's something you definitely want to fix. So the first thing to try is just cleaning the seal. Sometimes there's debris or buildup that keeps it from sealing properly. If that doesn't work, replacing the seal is usually a cheap and pretty easy fix. Now, I like to carry a tube of silicone grease with me, and if you notice that that seal is not holding water, you can just get a small bead and rub it right around the edge of the seal, and that will hopefully get you through the rest of your trip until you can actually order and replace the seal. All right, the next problem. You go to plug something in, and nothing happens. The first thing that you want to do is check your fuse box. You want to see if any of your breakers are tripped. If they're not, it's probably a GFCI issue. Now, in RVs, it can be a little bit tricky because the outlet that controls everything might not be anywhere near the one that stopped working. This happens repeatedly to people that are just getting to learn their RV because they'll trip a GFCI outlet. It might be in the bathroom, it might be outside, and then the outlet by their kitchen countertop is not working. It can get really confusing, so I always recommend that if you have one outlet that's not working, start going around and looking at all your GFCI outlets. The most common ones are going to be in your bathroom, in your kitchen, any outside outlets. If you have an outdoor kitchen, check in there. Having a tripped GFCI outlet outside can definitely impact the outlets indoors as well. So if you have that problem, don't worry, just try and check that first. When you do find the outlet, just hit the reset button and that alone should fix it. All right, next issue, your battery is not charging. Now, if your battery isn't charging, don't assume it's dead right away. Start simple. Go ahead and check your connections and make sure that nothing is loose. Remember, we're in RVs and they're rolling down the bumpy roads and connections can come loose. So you also want to look for any corrosion on the terminals and clean them if needed. It should be pretty obvious. You'll see kind of a white or a bluish corrosion right around the connections there. If you do see that, just like you would do in a car, you want to clean those up and get that connection made again. Now, here's what a lot of people don't think about. If you have an RV and you live in the Northeast and you leave your RV battery out over the winter and you don't have it on a trickle charger, there's a good chance that you've shortened the life of that battery or maybe even killed it completely. And it's not always all or nothing. So a dying battery might still kind of work. You might notice your lights dim faster than usual, or things work for a little while and then it fades out. The other thing to keep in mind is that even if your battery is dead, your 12-volt system can still work if you're plugged into shore power. So a lot of people will assume that their battery is fine because their lights and their jacks and everything else is working when they're plugged into shore power. But as soon as you go off of that shore power, if you have even a little bit of charge in a bad battery, it can drain that pretty quickly. So anyway, sometimes you have to do a little bit of all right, the next thing that is not necessarily going to break, but you're going to notice a lot of loose screws in hardware. And I'm not talking about the loose screws in your head. I'm talking about the loose screws throughout the RV. And this one is constant. Your RV is basically going through a mini earthquake every time you drive. So things are going to loosen up over time. Most common, you're going to see these in things like your cabinets, your hinges, your drawer slides, wall-mounted items, trim pieces, really all over the place. So if you start to notice that maybe like a drawer is not pulling out like it used to, or your cabinets are a little wobbly, it's probably just a loose screw. So it's a simple fix. You just want to go tighten things up. And, I find myself, I get my screwdriver out and I'll just start walking around checking all the cabinet knobs and everything, just getting them all tightened up. But it's just a constant thing that happens. If you really have something that you don't want to come loose, you can put a little Loctite on that screw, but normally it's not a big deal. The next thing that is common to break or to get misaligned is your door. If your door is not closing properly, it can be really frustrating. But a lot of times it's not actually the door. The biggest culprit here is if your RV isn't level or your steps are putting pressure on the frame. Now, I find this to be very common if you have solid steps, the ones that go all the way down to the ground and they are adjustable at the bottom. If they're not extended at the right angle, it can actually cause the bottom of the door to jam and it will feel like your door is not closing. Often what you can do is just adjust the legs of your solid steps and just decrease the angle a little bit and your door should close. It's pretty common, very frustrating, but a super easy fix. Now, the other thing with your door, if it isn't the steps, and your RV is not level, you can definitely try re-leveling your RV first before you go ahead and take off the entire door. Now, most likely if your RV is just a little bit out of level, that's not going to cause a door problem. But if you're, widely off level, that could impact your door. Now, the other possibilities are latch alignments or frame flex, but leveling solves this more often than anything else. But just like I mentioned earlier with the screws, when you're going down the road, you're bouncing all over the place. It's possible that latch may have shifted a bit. So you can always check that to make sure that your latch alignment is fine. Normally, your doors are not going to just magically break. It's going to be either the latch or the steps. Sometimes it's even like some dirt or a stick or something that got underneath the threshold that's just causing things to get misaligned. So definitely want to check your steps. You want to check your latches and you want to check that threshold to make sure everything's clear. And then also make sure that you're as level as possible. That will solve 99% of your door problems and hopefully it will allow you to make the quick fix and move on with your camping trip. Now, the next thing that might happen that may cause you to worry is hearing a loud clunking noise from your water heater. Well, if you start hearing a rumbling, a popping sound, that's usually just sediment buildup inside the tank. And this happens pretty naturally. Over time, especially if you're camping in areas with hard water, you're going to get that mineral buildup inside your water tank. What's going on is that minerals and debris settle at the bottom of the tank, and when the heater runs, it heats that unevenly, and that's what's causing the noise. But it's not just about the sound. That buildup can reduce efficiency, lower your hot water capacity, and over time, it can even shorten the life of your tank. So this is something that you don't want to ignore. So if you hear a noise, try and take care of it. But the good news is it's a really simple fix. All you need to do is just drain and flush the tank. Start by turning off the water heater, let it cool down completely. You could actually turn off the water heater, run a lot of hot water out. That will help you cool it down much quicker. And then you want to relieve pressure by opening the hot water faucet. From there, remove the drain plug or the anode rod in the water tank and let it drain out. Once it's drained, flush it out with a hose or a flushing wand to push all that sediment out. Those flushing wands are great. They have a long nozzle. You can put it in the opening there and just move it around and you'll see all of that white sediment start to flow out. Now, you'll never get every last crumb of sediment out of the tank, or at least I can't, but don't worry about that. You just want to get as much out as you can and just do this regularly, like once or twice a season. Also, it's a great time to replace your anode rod. So if you do that once every season, replace it, clean out the sediment, and you're good to go. You can do that little bit of preventive maintenance. All right, next, your jacks, either your leveling jacks, your tongue jack, they're not working. You've hit the button and nothing happens. Well, before assuming that the jack is broken, start with the basics. It's probably not the jack, and it's probably not the jack motor. Now, it can be, but probably not. So first, check your wiring connections. Look for blown fuses. Not only will there be fuses inside the RV, a lot of times there's going to be inline fuses that are very easy to miss. And those are fuses that are right along near the jack, along the wires that are going into it. Now, the last thing that happens to almost everybody at some point during their camping career is that the propane is not flowing after you connect a new tank. So you run out of propane, you go out, you get a new tank, you hook everything up, and then you turn it on, and still nothing works. You know that you have propane, you just paid $30, $40 to fill up your tanks, but it's not working. This one gets a lot of people. What's actually happening is that there's a safety valve inside the tank that gets triggered if you open it too fast. So the fix is really simple. Turn the tank off, disconnect the hose, wait about 30 seconds, reconnect everything, and then slowly open up the valve. So simple fix, and the slow open is the key. All right, well, the reality is RVs aren't built like houses. They move, they flex, and things come loose. But once you know what to look for, most of these problems go from something that feels like a big deal to something you can fix in a few minutes. If you found this helpful, check out my videos on RV tools you didn't know that you needed. I'll put the link right up here. That one pairs perfectly with this video. And if you've had something break that caught you off guard, drop it in the comments. I'd love to include it in a future video. And from there, like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell, and I'll let you know when we put out new content. All right, happy trails. See you on the road.